Good morning. My singers are going to take a little break today. Sue and Danny are here. We're going to do a little Steve Winwood, and I'd love for you to sing with me on the chorus. You'll recognize it. Yeah, you usually do. Different song. Think about it. There must be higher love down in the heart or hidden in the stars above. Without it, life is wasted time. Look inside your heart, I'll look inside mine. Things look so bad everywhere. In this whole world, what is fair? We walk blind and we try to see, falling behind in what could be. Okay, here we go. Bring me a higher love. Bring me a higher love. Oh, bring me a higher love. Where's that higher love I keep thinking of? Worlds are turning and we're just hanging on, facing our fear and standing out there alone. A yearning, and it's real to me. There must be someone who's feeling for me. Things look so bad everywhere. In this whole world, what is fair? We walk blind and we try to see, falling behind in what could be. Here we go now. Bring me a higher love. Everybody. Bring me a higher love. Oh, bring me a higher love. Where's that higher love I keep thinking of? I could light the night up with my soul on fire. I could make the sunshine from pure desire. Let me feel that love come over me. Let me feel how strong it could be. Here we go now. Bring me a higher love. 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 Oh, a good kind of love, a higher love. Thank you for singing.
Good morning. I'm Ray Winky, a member of Unity of the Hill Country. Welcome to Unity of the Hill Country, where we offer a positive path of spiritual living. Today's daily word, the daily word has been giving the Worldwide Unity Movement a daily prayer since 1924. Today's reader is Melaine, sorry.
Good morning. Today's daily word is healing. Let's say the affirmation together. My thoughts, words, and actions affirm wholeness. Wholeness is my true nature. Even if I'm facing a health challenge, divine life is active in every cell of my body. Knowing this truth, I hold healing thoughts and speak life-affirming words, while making sure to give my body the rest, nourishment, and care that will help it heal. I refuse to allow thoughts of sickness or weakness to grow in my consciousness. I seek support among friends and family who share my belief in wholeness. As I have been supported, I offer my support. I feel honored when I'm asked for healing prayer. I look beyond the appearance of illness, and with faith-filled vision, I behold and affirm the wholeness that is seeking to express more completely in the lives of those for whom I pray. And from John 5:6, when Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had been there a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" Let's say the affirmation again together. My thoughts, words, and actions affirm wholeness. Thank you.
Affirmative prayer is essential to the Unity movement. We are honored to pray with you. Submit a prayer request or drop a card in the lobby prayer chest, or go online to be.unity.org. All prayer requests will be sent to a 24/7 prayer vigil at Unity Village, known as Silent Unity. Please take a moment and silence your phone so it does not disturb our gathering. Please join with me to affirm our mission and vision statements: to live consciously, celebrating the divine potential in all, as well as our new statement of faith: revealing oneness in the world and universal peace, love, and abundance. Join us for our meditation song. The song is Yuza.
Spirit flow through me like a melody, ancient and brand new, for the song is you. May our people hear strains so sweet and clear. Let your joy come through, for the song is you. We will be the instrument you play. Bring your sweet music to me each and every day. For joy I know to be in the flow. Every note rings true when the song is you. Spirit flow, Spirit flow through me. Spirit flow, Spirit flow through me. For what joy I know to be in the flow. Every note rings true when the song is you. And the joy I know to be in the flow. Every note rings true when the song is you. Every note rings true As we enter into this time of meditation, we quiet our minds and relax our bodies. Let us consciously recognize that the life force, the force that sustains us and heals us, is everywhere present. Close your eyes and take an in breath, then an out breath. And again, an in breath, replenishing the life force within, an out breath, releasing energies and stress of the outer world. With each breath, gently brush aside thoughts of negativity and turmoil. Feel yourself letting go of hurt, anger, frustration. And let us be grateful today. Thank you to the universe. Allow peace, love, harmony to enter your mind, your body, and your spirit. As we say thank you, think of a day that's filled with compassion, filled with joy and calmness. In the silence. Let's welcome our guest speaker, Charlie Diggs, today.
And can you hear me? Am I mic'd okay? Okay. I'm going to move this out of the way. Open this up here. I'm losing things. So today I'm going to talk about finding your voice. And this is not a voice that you're going to speak with, although eventually it will be. But finding your voice is the voice that you listen to. Do you listen to the voice for your ego? Or do you listen to the voice of our Heavenly Father? This is the main point of my talk today, is which voice you listen to. So it depends on your worldview which voice you want to listen to. So there's those that visualize the world as it's all been evolution. Everything is by evolution. And so they just see the material world, and they don't see a spiritual world at all. And so that dictates how they see, think, and act about the world. But we're here in a community setting that celebrates creation and God. And so we're trying to listen to a different voice. And that's a voice it's not of this world. And yet it's right here. As long as we listen, it's just right here. And so what are we going to choose to listen to? So there's a voice for fear, and that fear engenders the physical world. This person's bigger than me. This person's stronger than me. This person's wealthier than me. It's the world of comparisons. So we compare ourselves, and all that comparing does is just undermine your stability, your emotional stability. And even if you're the biggest, strongest, wealthiest, well, in 20 years that may not be the case. So what you've built your world on is fragile and temporary. And so we're seeking here what's going to be permanent for us. So there's some folks that say, well, yeah, the world they may believe in creation, but because there's free will, then sometimes our world gets a little messy. And they want to say that, okay, God created me, but he's not a loving God at all. He's not loving because he allows all these atrocities to happen. How could a loving God do that? But I ask you to ask yourself, well, how do you rectify that? The only way to solve that is to take away our free will. And that's one of his first tenets for us, is to have free will. So it does get a little messy. And in all that messiness, we must maintain our faith. When people are acting poorly, we must see the Christ in them. When they're acting wonderfully, they remind us of the Christ in us. So we have all these different players going on in the world. So, and I want to propose to you too that the voice for love comes from our Father, who created the physical world and the spiritual world. He created all the creatures, and he created the form. So he created the chair that you're sitting in. And what I would suggest to you is that is his way of creating thought. So everything's a thought, and he's coagulated these thoughts together over time to bring you that chair that you sit in now. So we have a voice for love, and we have a voice for fear. And the voice for love requires faith, because it's the unseen world that we're trying to tap into. It's the unseen-ness that we're focusing on. Whereas the world of fear, it's with constant endless comparisons. That's what, people get in trouble on social media. And I don't participate in that, but I've just, heard and read about it, that they're into these comparisons all the time. This person's this way. Oh, how wonderful. I'm not that way. Person's this way. I'm not that way. Oh, I must not be such and such. Well, God just wants to say, hey, I created you. You have to be perfect just the way you are. You need change nothing. There's not a thing you need to change. And what a wonderful feeling that is, that you can be just content with yourself. From that platform comes strength and kindness and compassion, and that's what we're all striving for. So I heard a song, and I'd never thought of, and it's recent, very recently I heard the song, and the ending line to that song was, I believe in one God that no one should trust. That no one should trust. So there's people out there that have the view of the world that I believe in creation. I just think there's, too much going on for all to happen just by, happenstance, and chemicals and materials getting more organized over time. They believe in creation, but they don't believe that the God is loving. And I think it's because of that free will. They don't think there's a loving God. So they lose faith in that. And, but even in that, I found a miracle. So my miracle was that I had heard that on the radio, and that song. It's by a young gal, and she's the daughter of the lady that was in the Kill Bill movies. So she's the daughter. Anyway, she's singing, and her last line is, I believe in one God that no one should trust. And so I said, I'm going to incorporate that into my talk. And do you know that it was a day or two later, I went out to my car. This is not on a tape or on a CD. This is on the radio. And I turn on the radio, and what's on is that song, and only that sentence of that song. Not a word more, not a word less. I mean, that was planted by the divine for me. How else do you explain that? If you want to believe in coincidences, that's just too much coincidence for me. It was there for me. So there's another view of the world that I think fits well, and it just resonates with me. And that's that we were created by a loving Father, and that evolution has taken place. He lets us evolve, and that's all compatible. It's very compatible in my mind. And it's a God that has loved us at the start, loves us now, calls us to love him so he can reciprocate, to have a reciprocal appreciation of each other. So this is the most loving version of the world I've presented, I think. He asks that we share his thoughts. He asks that we have affinity for everything he created. If you are the creator, and I created you lovingly, and me lovingly, why would I want me to attack you or you to attack me? There's no need for that. So he wants us to feel with our heart. Our heart is something that, I study two things. I study A Course in Miracles, and I study A Course of Love. And in the Course of Love, it talks about your heart. So your heart is really your emotional center. We're not talking about the physical heart, the beating heart. We're talking about your emotional center that radiates to everything and has an affinity for everything. So that's the one we're focusing on. Now, there's some people that they need something visual to get them over the hump so they can believe in a God. For them, it's everything that I see. But what we're going to do now is play a video of the murmurations of starlings. I don't know if you've ever seen that before. And we're going to stop that video. We're going to let it go for almost a couple of minutes. I think it's just very interesting. And then we're going to stop it at 1 minute and 47 seconds of that video, and we'll talk about that. So the scientists want to say, well, they don't believe in God. They don't believe that God is orchestrating this and giving us, this happens a lot of times, this happens in the evening. It's just another form of a sunset to me. It's God saying good night. And so he does this, and how they want to explain it that, okay, I'm a bird and 7 other birds react to me. Well, if I go this way, then they're all going to go this way, and then they're all going to go this way. They're going to go one direction. But this is so fluid in so many ways that something is, they're in tune with the Father, and the Father is guiding them. And you have all of these birds together. They don't run into each other. You don't see birds falling out of the sky. And if they're just reacting to each other, how do they create a formation like that? Now, it's hard for them to hold that for very long because they're flying. They're not hummingbirds. But I just think that is a visual proof that there's a Father out there. And for those that need to get over the hump, well, this is your thing. So in the world of love, there's just always constant support and harmony and just a well-being inside that you know you're on the right path. There's not hostilities. There's not an attack on yourself. I mean, you still go into these modes, at least I do, where you just get down on yourself for a short while. But it's so easy to recover. It's like, with God, you're never working without a net. There's always a net there. And so it's a wonderful thing. Whereas fear is really insecure and it wants to analyze everything. And so if I'm unsure about myself, I have to analyze you. I'm not sure about myself, so if I put you down, that must make me feel better because I got to play the game of inferiority and superiority, don't I? Well, if you're in God's care, you don't need to do those things. So faith is our unseen world, and faith is our password to heaven. Faith is our password to heaven. And our brain, our monkey brain, is our pathway to fear. Don't want to play that game. And then your heart is your emotional center that's connected to everything. And just as we've been experiencing here, music can connect us to our emotional being. And so we're going to play later, Melinda's going to play What a Wonderful World, sung by Louis Armstrong. And that, I'll read a few lines of that, and then we'll sing it too. But I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow so pretty in the sky are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. And so in the time frame when this was written, it was back in the 1960s, 1967, I think. And it was a time of the assassinations of the Kennedys and Martin Luther King, and the Vietnam War was going on. And there was two guys that just thought the nation needed an uplifting song. And so they created this song, What a Wonderful World. And then also we got to experience Melinda's talent to play us Steve Winwood's Higher Love. And so, you know, in that one, it's identifying that there has to be a higher love than what most of us on the planet are experiencing. There has to be something more. And so he's saying, worlds are turning, and we're just hanging on. We're just hanging on, facing our fear and standing out there alone. So we're not identifying with God, and we've got fear in our hearts, and there's a yearning, and it's real to me. There must be someone who's feeling for me. Well, I think he's feeling for you with that heart he's trying to share with you. There's that yearning that he has. You know, Steve Winwood is a very good and earnest musician, and I think he was struggling with this issue back in the 80s. He wrote this song. And then I like to look at how these principles play out, say, in a movie. So there was the movie Giant, if you remember it, back in the 1950s with Rock Hudson and Elizabeth Taylor and James Dean. And it's set in Texas, where Rock Hudson, his name in the movie is Bick. So Bick is a very wealthy rancher in West Texas. He has a gazillion acres and a gazillion cows, and he has a large house. He has a ranch hand who's envious of him, and that's James Dean. His name is, in the movie, his name is Jet. So he's envious because Bick has all the power. Well, then Bick is interested in a horse. He goes to the East Coast to look at the horse. He buys the horse. He meets the owner of the horse's daughter, and he marries her and brings her back. And that's Elizabeth Taylor. And her name's Leslie. And so part of the themes that work out in this movie is that, well, there's a lot of Mexican people that are working on his ranch, but they're not truly appreciated. You know, they're looked at as second class, and when Leslie comes there, she's appalled by this. And she insists on better conditions and better health care for them. And Bick is resistant at first, but you know, when someone you love is being loving to others, it's hard to resist that force. So over the course of time, he succumbed to that. Now another thing that he was wrestling with too is they had children, and he had taken over the ranch from his father, and he was looking forward to his son taking over the ranch. Well, but his son didn't even like horses. How are you going to run a cattle ranch and not be on a horse? And he wanted to be a doctor. So he fought for his way that way. And later on, he wanted to marry a Mexican girl. Well, that caused a rub. Well, but one of the best scenes of the whole movie is when it's Bick and his wife, Leslie, so Rock Hudson and Elizabeth Taylor, along with the new daughter-in-law and the grandson, who is part Hispanic, part Mexican. They go into a cafe, and the owner balks at serving them. So, I don't know. But then Bick's a big name around there, so he decides to serve them. But then another Mexican family comes in, and he says, no, he's kicking them out. So Bick and the restaurant owner get into a big fight. And it's pretty bloody, and it's pretty long, and Bick loses. He loses the fight, but he wins his wife's heart, because now he's solidified his belief in these people have value and they're my equals, and I'm standing up for that principle. And so he wins her heart that way. He already had it for the most part, but you know, you can always use a little more love. And so now you have this other character, and that's Jet. And Jet, well, in the course of the movie, he inherits a small tract of land. But on that tract of land, he strikes oil. And almost overnight, he becomes almost as rich and powerful as Bick. But it's not well placed, because he doesn't appreciate others. He still doesn't appreciate Hispanics. And he doesn't fully appreciate himself and have self-love. And so he's always looking for his money to buy him attention and external love. And that all craters. And it culminates when he's opened up a new airport, and now they're going to christen the new airport, and he's going to give a talk that evening. And what does he do? He's so drunk. By the time he gets to that point where he's supposed to give a speech, and he just duds out, you know. So you can see how the worldview affects things, and how the godly view, the eternal things, affects things. And that plays out in that movie there in Giant. So there's another aspect of this that I want to talk about. This is kind of humorous, but it also relates to the heart that I'm talking about. So at one point, Leslie and the two children at the time, they had two children, a boy and a girl, and they were about 3 and 5 at the time. And Bick and her aren't getting along. Bick and her are bickering. And so she takes a trip back to the east to be with her family. And it's around Thanksgiving time, and the family has a turkey. And the kids are feeding the turkey on a daily basis. Well, then it comes time for Thanksgiving, and they find out that the family turkey, whose name is Pedro, is on the kitchen table and on the dinner table. And they're just heartbroken. They're just, no, Pedro, I can't eat anything, Pedro. But that's how young kids are. They just feel so much, for things. And so how that relates to me is I have two daughters, and they were about that age at the time. I was driving down the road. They're in the back seats, in their car seats, I suspect. And out comes a rabbit, and thump, thump, thump. And I go, oh no, I think I just hit a rabbit. And they both start crying. Oh no, Daddy just killed a rabbit. Oh no, no, no. But they're so open. I think as adults we kind of lose that, and it's a bit comical, but it's a bit serious too. It's a statement of how loving and caring we can be if we allow ourselves to be. So I study A Course in Miracles, and in the Course in Miracles, there's only two voices. There's the voice of the ego and the voice of the Holy Spirit. And everything that the ego makes up is just an illusion. You're a big man in the community, you're a prom queen, you're the football star, whatever it is you want to attach that to. That's of the ego. And those things are fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But to place all of your feeling and all your sense of worth based on those things is just really quicksand. And that's what the book is trying to teach you. And if you gain some status, well, now you have to work to preserve it, don't you? I mean, that's a juggling act just right there. So the voice for God, the Holy Spirit, knows you're a vital part of creation and knows that you're worthy just how you are, that you are inherently loved and you are naturally loving. That's your natural state. And everything else is this clutter that we create in our lives. It's not the purity of what we really are. The voice for fear, man's ego, is disconnected from God and the Holy Spirit. This leaves him uncomfortable, and so he wants to dissect and analyze. And he feels a void, and he tries to fill that void with things of the world. It may be with relationships that are special relationships where I think you're wonderful, you think I'm wonderful, but those other people, so that's special relationships. I mean, it's nice if you can get that way and everybody's special to you. That's where you really want to be. But the ego is always seeking out external attention. And that's what we want to avoid. So one of the things that the very first line of the Course in Miracles is, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So the love that was created and our spirits that were placed in these bodies, that's the eternal. That can never be threatened. And all this other stuff that we make with our egos and the things of form, those things are just the temporary. So that's the very first lines in the Course. And the Course wants us to know that we can just never be divorced from God. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do to divorce yourself from God. You can do it in your own mind, but he's saying, hey, I'm still here. I'm still here for you, buddy. Come on back. So the voice for fear, it always wants to build higher fences, stronger locks. It just wants to preserve what it sees as valuable, which is really tainted in its view. So again, the password to God's world is faith. You must have faith in the unseen and have your actions and your thoughts follow that. And you want to feel with your heart. You want to feel connected. Is there, when people act really poorly, I had an employee one time. You could see that he struggled with his own self-image. And so he would make up these grandiose things about himself that just couldn't last. You would see through it either immediately or within a day or two you'd know it wasn't true. But he couldn't help himself because he just didn't have that internal love that he needed to give him stability. So I want to let you all know that we talk about A Course in Miracles and A Course of Love. A Course of Love is almost like A Course in Miracles 2.0. It was started to receive in 98. Course in Miracles like in 65, and those people had passed away, and now here comes another version, and it's called A Course of Love, and you can tell it's the same voice. It's the same loving voice from one to the other. A different receiver, but still the same type of message. But this one is more of the heart and not so much mental. A Course of Love is of the heart. It was received by Mari Perron in 1998. The whole story behind that I won't go into. But we study that. We study that right here on Monday afternoons at 4 o'clock. And we can readily get more books. We can readily have more seats. If you all want to come and study with us, there's a small but dedicated group. We study together. We Zoom. I travel some, so we Zoom some. And but through this all, for it's been a while now. We've been doing this, and it's once this book gets a hold of you, it's hard to let go. So I invite you all to come, and I thank you for being here today. Thank you. Help you sing? Oh boy.
Everybody knows this, so you can all help sing, but Charlie, he has a good voice. I see trees of green and roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
If this is your first time at Unity, we're glad you're here. We hope you're finding a place of like-minded people and a place to belong. We teach spiritual tools that can help you no matter what is going on in your life. If you are interested in a welcome packet, an usher can bring you one or you can grab one on the way out. Please fill out the contact form if you wish to be part of our weekly email newsletter. Now we have an opportunity to support our spiritual cooperative. If you would like to donate by credit card, go to our website, unityofthehillcountry.org, and click on donate. Click on the donate button or scan the QR code on your handouts. Please consider setting up an automatic monthly contribution. If you would prefer to email or mail us checks, please mail them to 1016 Jefferson Street, Kerrville, Texas 78028. We thank you in advance for your generosity. Please bless what you are giving now. Join me in our offering affirmation. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I send it forth with my blessing and my love. Blessing our abundance. We open our hearts in gratitude as we release these donations. We send these gifts forward through our congregation and into our world, blessing all that it affects. We have reached the end of our gathering. Please rise, circle up, join hands, and we will do the peace song and the prayer for protection.